Panther Nation, what is good? Welcome back to Two Fans in the Stands. I am your favorite armchair GM, CJ.
And y'all know what it is. I am your favorite couch scout extraordinaire, Tony. Come on, one time.
Lord have mercy.
Come on.
Okay. All right, y'all. We're going to come at you with a quick video today. And as most of you already know, Frank Reich is taking back the play calling Thomas Brown after just 3 games. Is this a big mistake?
3.
Join us and let's find out. Before we get started, Panther Nation, do us a big favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those post notification bells so you know when our videos come out. We are still on our way to our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and we thank and appreciate everybody who has taken the time out to subscribe so far. All right,
Yes,
Tony, let's
sir.
go ahead and get into this. Frank Reich is taking over the play calling from Thomas Brown.
Yeah.
He gave it to
Yes,
him
sir.
before the Houston game, and now he's taking it back going into the Cowboys game. What's your thoughts on this? You as the thumbnail says, was this a big mistake?
I think so. I
Okay.
believe I believe so. And here's why. I mean, I can come at it from a few angles.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that has stood out to me is that there's it to my knowledge, there isn't precedent in the NFL where a head coach has given the play calling duties to an offense coordinator and within 3 weeks or less has taken it back. I know there's some speculation out there that this can hinder Thomas Brown future going forward as possibly being the offense coordinator or getting the head coaching job. I don't know how true that is. Okay, it may be, it
All right.
may not be, but what I do think, in my opinion, I think that hurts the relationship building between the head coach and offensive coordinator, especially when they didn't have one from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? As
Okay.
with Thomas Brown decided to come to the Panthers, him and Frank Reich had never worked together, didn't know each other. So during this offseason, during preseason, was a time when they was building their relationship, building trust in each other. More so, Frank Reich building, uh, getting the trust of Thomas Brown to see if he can handle such a thing. And then Frank Reich goes out and he said, "Well, eventually I will hand over the play calling duties. Will it be at the end of the year, mid year? I don't know. Whenever he felt like Thomas Brown was ready, he would hand over the play calling duties." Then here comes week 8 after the bye, week 9, I'm sorry, that he's going to hand the play calling duty over to Thomas Brown. Thomas Brown goes out. They win the first game against Houston. Look pretty good. What have you. Next game against the Colts didn't look too good. Bryce throws 3 interceptions, 2 on pick 6. And so I knew, because I said this in the preview before the Chicago game, that it was going to be a conservative game from both teams because of the interceptions Bryce threw against Indianapolis and because of the turnovers that Tyson Bagent had against the Saints. But I also said whoever comes out and hit the other in the mouth first and force their will on the other team was going to win that game. But what I didn't think was going to happen was that the offense was going to look as inept as it did. Do I still think that was the reason for Frank Reich to pull the play calling duty from Thomas Brown? No. Why do I say that? Because the playbook is the playbook. I don't think there's no significant difference that you're going to see with Frank Reich going back to the play calling that you saw from Frank Reich through weeks 1 through 7, and then what you saw from Thomas Brown in weeks 9 through 11. Because I just week 8 we had to buy. So the offense is the offense, and no matter who the play caller is, no matter who the quarterback is, if the offensive line isn't any good, it's not going to give you time to operate or call the plays that you want to call, and you be sufficient in that play calling. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I think this was more so all about Frank Wright wanting to cover his behind. I think the seat is getting a little hotter than what was, initially thought. I think time may be running out on Frank Wright. I don't think he has the time that he thought that he initially had. And yeah, I just think he's just trying to cover his own ass. I don't like the move. I don't agree with it. But at the same time, I also don't think that it's going to hurt Thomas Brown as far as being offense coordinator or head coach somewhere else. That's my opinion. What would you think, CJ?
I kind of agree. I don't know if I want to say if it was a big mistake just yet, but like you were saying, that hot seat is hot. It ain't just a
Yeah,
little warm. That joke is flaming hot, and Frank Reich can't sit down. His ass is on fire right now. So yeah, I do believe that hot seat is hot, and he more than likely did this to try and say, okay, well, you know what? I'm about to get the boot. Let me do everything I can in my power to try and turn this around. But like you said,
right.
it's the same offense. We're going to see the same stuff from Frank Wright, and it might be, even worse. Like it looked. I'll go back to preseason, first 6 games of the season. The playbook is the playbook, like you said, and I'm. It doesn't it doesn't seem right because I say just let Thomas Brown keep calling the plays. I mean, you're not gonna get any better unless you learn. Okay.
Yeah,
But
that's
then at the
true.
same time, at the same time, part of me is like, okay, well, maybe Frank Wright is trying to not necessarily save Thomas Brown, but maybe he's trying to kind of get him out of the spotlight because if he has like that gut feeling, where he knows what's
I ain't
coming and
about
he
that.
and he knows, the shit's about to hit the fan, maybe
Right.
he can kind of push him to the side and he take the brunt of this himself. Which is that's the reason why he's doing this, and I kind of commend Frank for that. I think that was very, manly of him, the gentleman move
Very
for him. The
admirable.
admirable. There you go. To try and
Yeah.
push him to the side and be like, you know what, the ship is sinking, and when it does sink, I'm gonna take the brunt of it because there's an article out that says that David Tepper is very frustrated by the offense. And like
Right.
I said, I don't know which one of those scenarios is true, but I mean, it could be a lot of things. It really could. But I will go ahead and say this: Panthers offense comes out this weekend versus the Cowboys and looks like it did versus the Bears. That might be the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back, and that might be a wrap for Frank Wright. Now, mind you, this is the Cowboys. Their defense is a lot better than the Bears' defense. And you
Yes,
got
sir.
bookends in Micah Parsons and what's the man name? Demarcus Lawrence. I think that's his name. I think I got it right.
Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence. You're right.
Yeah, but it's a whole different ball game versus the Cowboys defense. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. If they come out and have another abysmal showing, that might be the end of Frank Wright's season.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, CJ. What do you think, besides a victory, what do you think Carolina would need to show or do this Sunday in order for Frank Wright to keep his job? Because right now, I believe if they put up another performance like they did against Chicago and showed that offense to be inept, I think Frank Wright can be out of a job come Monday morning. So, what can he do to keep that from happening?
Simple. Their offense got to put up at least 28 points. That's 4 touchdowns, not including any field goals that Panero gets. And they're gonna have to
Wow.
keep Bryce Young off of his ass. He's going to get sacked, but if they can keep it to 1 or 2 sacks, and I think the offense has to put up at least 3 or 4 touchdowns. Okay. They got to show some
Okay.
progress and they got to show some major improvements from what they've been doing before. So for me, that's
Okay.
it.
28 points. Well, that's heavy there, cuz. That's that's heavy.
It
I
is.
don't, I
And
don't
I
know
ain't
if
talking
they
about no garbage time touchdowns too. I'm talking about 28 legit points.
28 meaningful points, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, one last question. Do you think Thomas Brown would call plays again this season?
Um, if Frank Reich gets fired, yes.
Okay. Okay. Other than that, no.
Other than that, I doubt it.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. Well, anything else, cuz, before we get out of here?
No, sir. We appreciate you.
Thank you for watching Two Fans in the Stands. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn the post notification bell so you'll be alerted to whenever we drop new content. Until then, Panther Nation, keep pounding.